Alright, as our second player select recruit banner that we have over here, let's talk about the three characters that are available and their skills, how they can be useful, the formations, and who to pick. So let's just talk about each of the characters. First of all, Kenma, I talked about him a little bit in my Kuro video. Obviously, if you have Kuro, then you will go for Kenma as a setter because they have this deployment bond, which is crazy, insane amount of quick spike. And obviously as a nekoma player, if you activate the school bond, then it'll be a massive additional buff on this setter. So the first skill increases your size player receive by 8%, and if his set or your size receive results is perfect, gain 1 stack of Keep It Alive, increases receive power by 3% up to 6 stacks. This is actually super useful because receiving is super important in the game. Like if you get a perfect receive, then obviously your there's more chance to get a perfect set and also a perfect spike. And this goes the other way as well. If your receive is bad, there's more chance to get a bad set and also a bad spike. So obviously having a perfect receive is super useful over here. This is a normal set, and then over here again this is crazy because it increases the first passive, so receive power by 6%, and if the Keep It Alive exceeds 5 stacks, additional increases their receive power by 150% and save power by 150%. This is a really high number, right? And then over here, let's say your side's receive or save fails, and then it will consume 6 of the stacks to make it perfect. So obviously this is again useful. And then over here has a setter dump like Kageyama, so this is also something that he can attack when he's in the front row. And then the second character, Tendo. So these two characters are for Shiratorizawa High School. He has a bond with Yoshijima. Obviously, if you have Yoshijima, then he will be your first choice. And there are a few reasons. So increases attack technique of Yoshijima and defense technique. So technique actually means the whole skills of attacking. So this will apply to your serve, to your spike, and also the set. And then defense will apply to your receive, to your block, and to your the save one. So these three, right? This is the defense and these three are the attacks. So it will buff up all of your stats, which is great. And then he also has this deployment bond, which is not useful enough, but if you go for full Shiratorizawa High School to activate the bond, then yeah, you can use that as well. Over here increases reflex, so it's good for the reflex is actually the crit rate to defend. And then over here, quick spike. Second passive reduces the cooldown of Wild Instinct, which is this one, the ultimate, when blocking a critical spike. So if the opponent has a critical spike, his reflex increases by 15%. So again, additional buff like crit rate for defending, which is great. And then over here, the wing spiker Goshiki, he's like the last person you want to choose in my opinion. Increases team morale. And then over here has a receive, and then the sharp technique. Each stack increases his power by 2.5. So as a wing spiker, obviously you need something to deal the damage or like get the points. So over here for this spike, his awareness increases by 10%. So as you can see, all the Shiratorizawa High School players have like increased crit rate and crit damage depending on their like the attack or defense. So it doesn't matter, both of the attack and defense have this thing. So now let's just check over here in the player guide. So we only have 4 characters. Obviously, if you want to activate this bond that will increase the awareness and strength of the players, then you have to use all 4, and the SR Taichi is not actually good. But again, this is something you need to consider. If you want to go all out, then you have to use all 4. Now, this is a screenshot from the JP version. So the future characters that we have for Shiratorizawa High School. So obviously Yoshijima, OP character, and then middle blocker, Tendo, and then wing spiker, Goshiki. There's another wing spiker over here, as you can see, Shiho. So these two together have a bond that increases all your allies' power attack. So this is actually really good, increases all your allies' power attack. And then against his first skill, against quick attack, increases receive as well. And then we have two setters. So this one, the first one, Kenjiro, is the better one among these two. And he also has a bond with Ushijima that does a power spike and also increases power attack, which is actually insane. And then his first skill also buffs up power attack. So super good for Ushijima as a setter. And then I'll talk about them in a bit, but just bear with me. And then this libero over here, Hayato, he's actually a really good libero. Like, he does increase reflex, save, receive, everything that a libero should do. So this is the full Shiratorizawa squad later on in future. This is the JP version. Now, again, you can go all out with Shiratorizawa to gain the school buff, but then individually, like, these characters are not the best one. Like, instead of this setter, obviously Oikawa and Kageyama are way better, even like the UR versions that we're gonna get later on. And then as a wing spiker, these are not the best wing spikers in the game. Again, so individually, they're not really powerful. So instead of these wing spikers, we're gonna get way more better characters in the future, like Kiyomi, Korai, Kita, and also Bokuto. So Bokuto will probably be the next UR character to summon for, and I'm gonna make a video about that later on. So they will be way better than these two characters. So these two individually, like all these characters here individually, are not really good except Ushijima, unless you have the school bond for themselves. So depending on like the team that you're going for, they could be either useful or not. So that's something you need to know for the future. Now, to quickly talk about the teams, if you want to go Shiratorizawa at the moment, if you have Ushijima, then obviously you can go for it and then use Tendo middle blocker, and then this SR Taichi as a second middle blocker, which is not useful, and then the wing spiker, where is he? Yeah, Goshiki. So then you will activate this school bond. And also you can check all the stat buffs and deployment bonds over here. So as I said, this won't be ideal, but then again, we have Nishinoya as a libero that will always replace the, like, you can choose middle blocker, any kind of these characters over here, but mainly we'll go for the middle blocker because they have the lower stat. So he will always replace middle blocker at the back row, and that way you can only use like this, like one middle blocker at front, and you will still get this school bond. So that way still your team will be functional. But then again, if the match goes forward and you lose points, gain points again, back and forth, this the rotation will change, and he will eventually show up in the front row, and then you have to use him. So that will be the downside, right? So this is something that you need to consider. Now, if we talk about, if you don't go like for the Shiratorizawa High School, still you can use Ushijima and Tendo together and get the bond that they have with each other. And then you can also go all out with Karasuno High School and get the bonds that you have with other characters. And as a setter, Kageyama is good, obviously, but if you have Oikawa, then he will be better for Ushijima at the moment. That's for these two. And then if you want to go Nekoma team to like Nekoma all out, then you can always go for Kenma and Kuro and like the other characters. Or again, you can go Karasuno High School over here and still have Kuro and Kenma as a setter. So now, to make it short and easy, obviously, if you have Kuro, go for Kenma. If you have Ushijima, go for Tendo. You can also try to get Goshiki, but just for the sake of the school bond. But then again, he individually isn't a good character. But again, if you want to go for the school bond, then you need to have him and then use the SR character and then just do the rotation so that Nishinoya is in the game. And if you have both of them, both UR characters, then obviously you're super lucky. You can get all three, I think. Good for you. But then again, let's say you don't have any of the UR characters. You don't have Ushijima. You just started the game. Obviously, you can't have Ushijima. And also there's a chance that you might not get Kuro. Then which of these characters you want to choose? That depends on the player that you want to sacrifice. So he's a setter that increases your receive. So instead of Kageyama, you want to use him then. So let's see if you want to sacrifice your Kageyama so that you can have Kenma instead of him or not. And then as a middle blocker, you have Tsukishima for free, and then you can replace your Hinata probably with him. So you want to choose which characters, like depends on your formation and your lineup, your characters. You want to choose between one of these two again, not this one as well. Okay, so just these two. And it's always good to have Kenma like a second setter so that you can build your second team as well. Because like in some game types you need to have two teams, and then he could be really useful over there, and if not, then a middle blocker Tendo could also help you out. But then again, it depends on your UR character, so depending on that, just go for either one of these two. Super easy. And yeah, that's it. I talked about their current status, how good they are at the moment, and also their future potential and their future teams, and how you can use them later on in the game as well. Obviously, you want to do whatever you want. These are just my suggestions, and I'm just giving you insights for the future characters that we're gonna get later on too. And yeah, that's it. I hope this video was helpful. Let me know down in the comment section what are your thoughts. Make sure you like and subscribe so you won't miss my future videos as well. Also, don't forget to join my Discord server so that we can get in touch over there more. Till next time, have fun and stay tuned.